Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Ellie. I started running in January 2024. I was a complete beginner. I absolutely had no idea where to start with it. So that's why I'm here today, because I'd like to talk to you about the things that helped me get into running and sort of take you on a journey as to how you can get into running from a complete beginner. Like, I knew nothing, I had no experience, I couldn't run for 60 seconds, and now I've run a couple of half marathons. I'm doing a marathon this year and a half marathon as well. And I run probably 4 times a week. I'm absolutely addicted to it. I mean, what can I say? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I think it's a good thing because it's helping me. Just wanted to say that I am absolutely not a professional runner. These are just things that have helped me. Sometimes getting into running can feel really overwhelming just because there's so much information out there. So I'm just going to try and give you the basics as to how I started, give you an overview on the sort of things that helped me. So these are the sort of runs that I started off with. I started really slow. I was walking a lot in these runs, and these are the sort of runs that I'm doing now. And that's a year and a bit in. I love running because it's really helped me see progress for the first time ever. And it's really exciting for me to see how my body and my mind have changed during this journey. So how did I get into running? I started with Couch to 5K. If you look up on the App Store, you can see the NHS app. I'll put a little icon here so you can have a little look at it. It's definitely a really good way to start you running because it helps you get into a routine, and also there's someone in your ear giving you tips and telling you what to do and when. It's in really nice chunks, so every run that you do is in chunks of walking and running, and then by the end you'll be running for half an hour non-stop, which I think is a massive achievement. You can either do Couch to 5K inside on a treadmill in a gym, or you can do it outside. And so I did start on a treadmill, and then as I started getting further into the program, I realised that actually going out and about made the runs feel less tedious and less repetitive. Now the next point is, everybody will say this to you: start slow. Start only just faster than your walking pace. It might feel silly, it might feel stupid. You will get faster naturally, but if you start like that, you won't tire out as quickly. It will help you keep going and keep on your feet. The next point is tracking your runs. I think there's so much in running that makes you feel like you can't do it because there's so much information. The main thing about running is that you are outside and you are putting one foot in front of the other. If you have an Apple Watch, all you've got to do is turn on the program, click run. If you're walking, don't worry about it. Just go, get out there. If you want to track your stuff on Strava, and Strava is an app that you can download, it's the best one really for tracking runs, you can do, but you'll learn as you go. For now, just get out there. I would suggest downloading Strava and having an account on private, just so that you can see where you are now, and then in a few months' time you'll be able to look back at where you are now and see your progress. The next one is not worrying about what other people think. I have a fantastic, lovely boyfriend. He's naturally good at running. He didn't do a run for a year and then he just went out and did a 10K. That is not the sort of thing that I'd ever be able to do. Do not worry about it. As you go, you'll get better and better at your own pace. Something else that I found really useful when I first started running was thinking about my form. Over time, I figured out that running is about conserving energy. The little amount that you can do with the rest of your body when your feet are going like this, one in front of the other, is the best way. So one example is crossing your arms over your body when you run. Try and keep your arms in and swinging like a pendulum back and forth. Also, I found that I had my head back. I felt like I needed to have my head tilted back. That's actually putting the brakes on because your centre of gravity is behind you. So try and keep your chin just level to the ground. Another thing I found is not bobbing up and down. The ponytail's swinging and it feels good, but that is wasting energy. Try and keep your head as level as you can, and that will be useful for conserving that energy. On to breathing. So when you first start running, you hear people talking about breathing. When I first started running, I could not breathe to save my life. The more I focused on my breath, the more out of breath I felt. If it's not working for you, because everyone's different, try and focus on something else. Focus on the music, how many strides you're doing. When you start to get a little bit fitter, your breathing does become more natural, and focusing on your breathing is really useful. I like to take a big deep breath in every 3 strides. So in for 3 and out for 3. Focusing on that helps keep your heart rate level, and it helps you not get out of breath too quickly. But don't worry too much about it. Another thing that is useful to see is VO2 max. Now, this is your lung capacity, a really helpful metric that helped me see how I have progressed since I started running. So on Apple, it looks a bit like this. But you can see my VO2 max, and you can see how much I improved over the year that I used an Apple Watch for my training. Now with VO2 max, don't put too much stock into it, but it is just another metric that you can see that you are getting better at. It's not something to base your training off, because it will go up and down as well, and don't get too disheartened. So moving on to smartwatches. I used an Apple Watch for a whole year of training. It was fine. I have heard that Apple Watches aren't that accurate and the battery life isn't that good. Now, I want to run a marathon and I don't want my Apple Watch to die halfway through. I'm currently using my boyfriend's Garmin. You can run without a smartwatch. If you download Strava, you will be able to track your runs on there. Do not worry if you don't want to commit to buying a smartwatch straight away, it's absolutely fine. And if you do, just go with the cheap one to start. Same goes for running gear. We'll start with shoes. When I first started running, I just wore an old pair of trainers, and I did the whole Couch to 5K with them, and they were absolutely fine. But you don't need to go out and buy the most expensive running shoes. When you start to get into longer distances, or you feel like running is definitely the sport for you, that's when you should go out and buy some running shoes. Going to a running shop is really important as well, because they can test out your gait and the way that your feet fall on the floor, and they'll make sure that you get the right trainers for your feet. With clothes, don't worry about it. Just put an old pair of trackies on, an old pair of leggings on, an old t-shirt for your first couple of runs. Vintage is my absolute best friend when it comes to running clothes. And then as you go, you can start to buy yourself some nice running gear. I would also say get yourself a running vest. I'll put a couple of links in the caption so that you can see what I use. Just somewhere to put your phone, some water if you need it, and a couple of other bits and bobs like your house keys and those sorts of things. When I first started going out, I was just using a bum bag, and that worked for Couch to 5K. But then as I started doing longer distances, I realised I needed somewhere to put everything that I could easily access when I was running. So the last thing that I really want to say about this running journey, there are some really great communities out there. There are park runs in almost every city and town. There are running clubs that you can get involved in, and the social media space around running is such a lovely space. I've really felt welcomed, so I would definitely suggest it. It can be so much fun, and it has given me so much more confidence. Welcome to the community. Please reach out if you have any questions. If you want to know about anything else, please pop it in the comments below, and please drop this video a like and subscribe, I suppose. I really look forward to making more videos for you guys, so thanks and bye. My cat's joined us.